Okay, so I just decided that there can't be any such thing as hell. Like, you don't have to believe me, but I've made up my mind. There's no such thing as hell. Because if there was, then I would have to see a lot of people uh, that I love would have to go there. People in my family, um, a lot of, uh, well, there I have sociopaths in my family. I still love them, but I don't see a purpose for hell really. I think when they die, then you know you have what valuable memories that you have, and then you have the ones that were not so valuable, but you still learn from them. Like I'm learning now, and is how you you, you have the way that you uh, cater information when it's for everyone. You have a way that you have certain refrain or resignations around certain information, how people react to it, that on a personal level, you really treat everybody different. It's not fake to have a different way to treat everybody. Um, and then everybody as a whole to have one way to talk to everybody as a whole, and those being different things. Um, I'll give an example how my mother's a sociopath. She had picked me up from work, um, and I work far away from where I'm camping, so I wouldn't be able to do that job considering that it's a 10-hour shift and the commute, and I have to uh, take showers at a gym, I have to do laundry, I have to go to grocery stores, and I would never be able to work this job. So I would just disappear and you would never hear from me again. So, I mean, if you were like somebody I knew, right? Because I'd have to go make it work somewhere else, and I'm planning on buying some land pretty soon. I was looking at a mortgage. There's like a 15-acre and it's a beautiful estate. I was planning on moving up there and building um a vacation home or retirement or like a safety net place for anybody uh, closely related to me, or who's like a family friend or somebody like that, somebody on my team that I scheme with or something. Anybody that I fuck with would be able to do something on this land, right? You could bring RV, you could maybe build your little spot or something. So I'm just working to secure this, and my even for my psychopathic mother. Let me just go ahead and end this video on why she's a psycho. She was talking about the Blase Ford, the accuser, and the Kavanaugh thing, and like why, um, uh, like what we stand um, to incur as far as separation from allowing somebody who is a rapist and everything. And she was like, why don't people believe women? I was like, well, do you believe in due process? Do you, like, due process, like, you still believe in due process, right? Like, why are you going to just believe a woman on her accusations regardless of any evidence or credible witnesses or corroboration of any claims? Like, that's why we have due process. And she didn't like what I was saying, and And she while I'm explaining it to her, there's like a little bit, I'm a little bit peeved because she's the first person to say, the rule of law and the process and everything. She's the first person to advocate for the process. Like when there's an FBI investigation of Trump, like, yes, they're investigating, things will come out, uh, the truth will come out, and he will be impeached after due process. But then, okay, apply it evenly, right? And that's not the only thing that makes her a psycho. When I was saying that, she was looking in the rearview mirror, and I looked back and I seen an Asian motorist behind in the car behind us, and she has slowed down the car to force him off the side of the road. She has squeezed him off the road. Him being a responsible driver, not wanting to tailgate or get right up on and honk and everything, starts to move to the side. She takes advantage to force him off the road because of what I'm saying. She just picked him out. I was like, I'm gonna force this off the road. And he had driven into the dirt and up to the sign and stopped his car. I don't know that. I mean, I don't have to argue points anymore. You know, like at some point in time, you have to say this is not healthy for you, women. Like this shit is not healthy for you. Your judgment is for shit right now. And if you think like that's not, if you think that is okay, then I don't need to be listening to nothing you have to say. And I mean, at some point in time, she's gonna get old and she ain't gonna have nobody to take care of her, and she's gonna want to move in with me. But she doesn't know where she sees herself in 6 months. She considers herself a victim of abuse, you know, and because I grew up in the household where she was being berated. I guess she's being berated. You seen me being berated, so now you're insensitized to verbal abuse. And she was talking mad crap. She besmirches my long dead father, and saying like she was a victim and everything. And the husband that she has now, she says he's verbally abusive. But and then she's like, "Oh, I'm not a victim anymore." It was then, but then she's still going to she's still gonna um go home to her husband, who she says she has no relationship with and no admiration for, and she would divorce him. But I don't have enough money to get a divorce. I don't have enough money to. I would leave him, but I don't have enough money to leave him. I mean, I really wouldn't take a ride from her anymore if I didn't absolutely need it, and if I wasn't trying. I'm trying to build. I think we should have some success. I'm tired of just being a survivor. I think we should have some fucking things. I think we should have nice things, you know. And she like freaking drove me crazy, and didn't want to diagnose me. She's not a mental health professional, but she had diagnosed me with some fancy name for some schizophrenia or something because I was yelling at her. One time she had just came fresh up off of demeaning my father, her ex-husband, and I know that at one time he had hit her, you know, he slapped her. I know that happened. I'm not denying it. I'm not denying that she loves him. She's always telling me, I do love him. I do. I never said you didn't love him. I never said he wasn't abusive at some time. But I mean, he's been dead for 20 years, and if you're not a victim anymore, why are you still in the victim mentality? And you're playing up this women thing, like you're playing up this. Oh, like she thinks that things will improve once women get in office. Um, well, I mean, men have been playing politics in forever. What and bureaucracy and slow footing and everything under the sun, that much ado about nothing has actually accomplished nothing. The Supreme Court has accomplished nothing, just like Random Ryan said. But it's not the most important thing in the world. But because people think that, it's a precedent, and oh, we need to get women in there, like, I don't understand the allure to the evil that men do, and one upping them and saying I'm going to do better what men have done, which has accomplished nothing. If they've been in this capacity to govern and represent the masses, and they've done absolutely shit, I'm not going to be enthusiastic about a woman saying, well, we could do it too. Like, we could do it too. You could do what too? What are you going to do as well as what has already been done? Like, I'm only interested in is stripping government down to nothing. You know, I don't understand if I bring up, the um, what's it called, the unspeakable dregs, and indicate um, indicate. Well, that's not the right word. But anyway, if I bring up an unspeakable dregs, the subject is not just there for you to take it and swing it over towards another way, like because you hate Trump. Like, we're not talking about Trump right now. We're talking about like Podesta or some. We're talking about, like, if I send her a link like to a story or something, she won't read the story, about the hedge fund, not the hedge fund manager's portfolio manager guy, the Howie Rubin. Right? I sent her the New York Post article about how he's accused of having a penthouse rape dungeon, and he punched a woman in her breast and flipped the implant and said, "I'm gonna rape you like I raped my daughter." And she didn't read it, but then she's going to browbeat me about, um, you know, uh, believing women and things. Like, you know, I mean, I get that it's an accusation and I haven't seen this court case, but I don't think I'm going to see the court case because I think it's going to be held privately. I think that people won't know what's going on or will have forgotten about it. And this motherfucker is a sick fuck. You know, Kavanaugh is not a sick fuck. He may be a useless bureaucrat. You know, he might even be, what's it called, skull and bones or whatever. Like, one thing at a time. Like, you really can't. I don't understand how we can acquiesce to letting these people blend back into oblivion and just, await the next time that they come out as the reputable source of, you know, what, you know, what is, right think, what is the proper type of thought pattern that you're supposed to have. Like, weren't you just a raping and a molesting and beating a little kid in a cage and behind a freaking backstage behind a concert, and like, isn't all this shit kind of hard to forget? Just because something comes up that's a political platform that's expedient, or a political like diversion where you're gonna get placated by giving you what you want to see, which is like a woman. Oh, because it's a woman, you don't even know who we're talking about. As long as it's a woman is somebody you've never met before. And the people that I've filled you in on, the people that I've given you references to look up things on, I've done heinous shit, and 2 weeks down the road, if I mention it, you don't know who that is anymore. Like, I sent you they forget, because they I mean, what the fuck? They think what is this about? I mean, how are you just picking and choosing what's important for discourse? Like, we got to remember the faces of these people who do this shit. You don't just got to know what happened. You got to know who they are and what they look like. Or is it just me? Is it just me? Anyways, I mean, I know that you probably don't want to hear any more about my mother. She doesn't have. She never. There's never a good story to tell. Wherever she's involved, it just won't be a good story to tell. You know that there's some people that trade stories or know how to relate things in stories or explain things in stories or have good stories to tell. This woman never has a good story to tell about near one thing. You know, and I guess as soon as I make this purchase, right, or get this mortgage and I start something else, I'm probably not going to keep ties with her, and I'm probably not going to hear about her until she's sick, and then I'm going to take care of her when she's an old lady on her deathbed. If I make it that far, that's what I'm going to do, because that's what's normal to me. I don't understand how people could marry, and how do you what's the purpose for getting married if you don't assume some responsibility for your spouse's parents? If you're not trying to build equity for your children or for your spouse's parents, if you don't, like, what are you trying to do? You know? I mean, are you really that attracted to the ability to store calories? Um, like, I get, you know what I think it is? Like, there's the hourly slave, like the left brain slave that punches the clock, and then there's the intrepid entrepreneur, who, you know, so my father was the entrepreneur, and he was, always like, he would take classes or study something. If he didn't know or understand how to do something, he would get somebody who knows how to do it, and he would, get advice, and then he would try it out and see if that works, and it takes a little bit of time, and you need a little bit of belief, and you have to be willing to break your routine sometimes. And you know the other one is just like, I punch a clock, I get a check, but it didn't work out. For I mean, he he was just living off of her. He was not working, he was gambling, he was entertaining friends, scratching hella lottery tickets, drinking rum, so, smoking cigarettes and doing coke, and just in his little man cave for hella years. And then he has a couple of successful years. I guess he made some money in sales, and then fucking carried his end for a couple of years, and he did such a good job that now he's got it in his head that she owes him money. But you wouldn't have been able to move into that house if you didn't have a co-signer. He needed someone to co-sign to get him into that house, and his um, that's what he saw in my mother, was a co-signer, and she went with that. Now, I don't believe in I don't believe in marriage. I think that everybody has an agenda, and that you should find your opposite or your better half, or you should find women in places where they're doing the same thing that you're interested in doing, because it fits the agenda. And then to that agenda, at some point in time, it's going to shift, and you're going to be interested in other things, and that's the time when you acknowledge that you should go separate ways. Find another spouse, with it, that shares your agenda, because you can't own a person. If I could just, if I can own a person, then when my agenda changes and their agenda changes, like, you're coming with me, and that's the end of it, because you're a faithful monogamous wife, so you got to come my way. And for the kids, oh, do it for the kids. I don't really think the kids are going to be negatively affected by two parents who have a perspective and an agenda, who acknowledge that we have reached the objective of our agenda, and and they could still be friends, and they could see other people, and their kids are going to be fine, but they want to act like you know, uh, you should suffer somebody who doesn't have your same modus operandi, like you doesn't have their same, doesn't share your same interest. You should suffer them and just make a sacrifice for the kids, and the kids don't even need you to do that. They're not asking you to do that. They would probably appreciate less corrosive atmosphere from two people who hate each other's guts trying to make it work out. But I mean, that's all a front and all a show, because she's running out of time to prove that she's a good girl and a, you know, and a Christian and a monogamous, faithful wife. She's trying to show that she could still do it where she failed before. She's gonna do it this time. But he's a piece of shit. Anyways, he's a piece of shit. He calls me. I don't fuck with him. I don't call him. He calls me and says, yeah, if I see you, I'm he, I'm gonna call the cops. If you come, he's like, if I see you, I'm gonna fuck you up. He told me I'm gonna fuck you up, and if you come around here, I'm calling the cops. Well, motherfucker, you want to have it both ways now, don't you? Don't you just want to have it both ways, huh? Like this fucking flip flopping piece of ignorant black trash. Um, I don't know. I don't know. He's 70. He's probably gonna die any time now. Uh, yeah. Fuck him. Anyways. Um, and I can't say the same thing to my mom. I can't be like, fuck my mom. Fuck her too, because she's my mom. She's afforded the reprieve that I won't call her the same names that other people would call her. But yet she gets me every bit as angry when you know, when she knows that she can't win an argument, that she could just only resort to engaging me on emotional level to try to get me off snap, and then following due course, just doing what you can do to make sure that I'm all the way temporarily insane. You know, what's good? Like what's good? What's good? I'm on my hustle. You know, I'm working. You could say, I could say it's just for me. Yeah, sure, I shouldn't worry about you. I can't. But I'm doing what's also natural. What's also natural to me. I was a mama's boy, coming up, and I think I'm turning into a family man. Even if my family ain't about shit, I'm still a family man. Like I'm still gonna do what it do. And you'll see once you're all old and spent and wasted your life on being emotionally bankrupt and a conniver. Like you're gonna see that I just do what it do, you know. I don't know. So I'm gonna be living it up on Easy Street pretty soon, and I'm short. It's like I'm short time, and I feel like I'm in prison right now because I have like 6 or 9 more months left to save and work and commute to a tent in a bush. I might want to do the smart thing, which is find some way to monetize YouTube. But then again, there's really nothing for me to talk about that people aren't already talking about. All the things. What am I gonna do? But like, remind everybody of how, we were enslaved and brought over from Africa, and then the government passed emergency measures, and bureaucracy stuck, and these um, uh, uh, what's it called? Fucking or these corporate interests just you know exploiting, raping land and ripping the nuts out of, leaving Chad hanging in this bitch and fucking sticking the receipt, giving the receipt to the next generation. We already know all that shit. I mean, I didn't really eloquate that very well, but we already know all that, what that could do. It's I might make a video if I see something developing and I think that other people should look at. I might just make a video of somebody else's video. I don't know. you know. But and I have some sort of interest in mythology, sublime, you know, um, mystified, occult, metaphysical information, akashic records, and physics, you know, uh, atoms, all these kind of things, literatures. Like I don't know everything, but I definitely have an interest in that area, and so I'll make videos where I invite people to challenge my standing beliefs, to repudiate something. That's another reason I might make a video. But it's definitely not for people to leave me like one sentence comments and things. Like I don't have a problem with that. I'm just not going to respond to them anymore. I'm not going to respond to one word phrases and like a comment that's only one or two sentences that's asking me about something I'm not really interested in. Like that's cool and everything. You're not wrong. It's every to each his own. I'm my break is too short. I'm only on break for 15 minutes. Half of my break is coming down from the work area and going back to the work area. Like, so it's really only about 7 minutes of my break. You know. So, I mean, and I'm not monetized yet. So, I mean, I have no onus to do anything. Everybody has their own activity. You know. I probably won't even release this video. Uh, yeah. And fuck. No, that's it. All right.